here. All right.
So many little things.
These are spiders. These, get real close. These are pudgies. They're fat stars. When he wanted to punish his assistants, he said he wanted 10 pudgies. If you look, the X-Acto knife work it's hair-like.
Wow.
Spiders, pudgies. These are teardrops. Flowers, music notes. These are old CTA tickets. They're transfers. He would cut them out.
Amazing. Such intricate little work. Look at some of these flowers. So this
Now these, very important, are titties. And he loved to put titties in his work.
And this was all cut by hand by your dad.
Oh, fuck no. We got guys for that. Speech bubbles. Stars. Jigsaws.
Wow.
Millions and millions of pieces of paper. Baseball cards. And this is what he did every day. You know, people joke about how he always knew how to merchandise. He had posters and buttons and holiday cards. Maybe it's not exactly what an artist in the museums would do, but the fact of the matter is that he was a working artist, and he worked his ass off every single day till his last breath. And he brought that mentality to the studio every single day, and it never, ever stopped. He made sure that there was work to do every single day for the people who depended on him, like myself, like his assistants, like the rest of our family. But it was a well-oiled machine. He started one piece, he finished it, he started the next one, sometimes the same exact day. He never, ever took a day off because he couldn't. And I don't want that to depress any of you, but it should make you realize that people like this will go their whole lives wondering what it'll mean and if it matters. I would sit across from him at dinner and he would rub his hands because they hurt. But he did this because he had to. He was never, ever going to make a cent working at a desk or in a cubicle. He was never, ever going to be anybody but himself. He was never going to be anybody's employee. He was always going to be his own boss. And if you want to honor him in any way, buy some art from a working artist. They are what we have left. They are the people who have decided not to relent to all of the pressure that there is to just blend in and fade away and melt into this. So this is my father. There's a lot of tributes. There's a lot of words. So many words. I've read thousands of them at this point. But if you want to know him, you can look at this desk, because this is what he did every day. He was a working artist. And he worked his fucking ass off. I think that's all I can say.
It's really good.
Thank
You have a little story for us about
Yeah,
this.
so I did a short student film in college called Pay Up. And my dad was the star of it, along with my, friend who's basically a brother to me, Ashkan Hadari, and they took their time out of their very, busy schedules, in a sense, to do this movie for me for a couple weeks. So, we made this movie, and it's all based on this piece. Come on inside. Watch your step. It's all based on this piece called The Ascension of Frank. And my dad wrote for New City, and he wrote a piece for this, and it was about a character he used to hang out with called Crazy Frank, who was a loan shark, and he did the most despicable things to people to get money. And sort of the twist of the story was that he was sending parts of his cut to his mom, who lived in Florida. So he had sort of this, sentimental soft side about him, which I always thought was fascinating. So I wrote a short script based on that story. And when I was in film school, I was a quiet kid. I was shy, but every time I seemed to, speak up in class, nobody really cared. It was, maybe they thought I was just a stoner or something, or a, just space cadet something. I had a bit of that reputation, but when we did this movie and the credits rolled, my dad's name came up, and the professor, whose name is Paul Pedito, gets up and he goes, "Tony Fitzpatrick is in this movie? What's, and then the movie, plays, and, this is the first time I'm ever presenting something that's mine, that I've ever filmed on my own and got to edit on my own and write. So I was a nervous mess, and I remember when the movie ended, I just started to sort of sink, because I didn't know how anybody was going to react. And then everybody sort of applauded, and, it got a big pop, really. And I, sort of straightened back up a little bit, and I was a little surprised. And the professor, Paul Pedito, gets up and he goes, "Who made that? Who made that film? Who did that?" And, I'm raising my hand, and he goes, "Hey, how do you know Tony Fitzpatrick? How do you know Tony?" I go, "Well, he's my dad." And he goes, "Oh my God, you don't understand. This is some of the best acting I've seen in a student film." And, then he turns to the rest of the class. "You gotta understand, this guy, he's an artist, he's an actor, and he's he was on the radio, he drove a cab, he boxed, he's a bartender, all this." And he goes, "What else did he do?" I was like, I was so in shock, I just kept saying, like, "He's my dad." And he goes, "He's your dad." And after that, everybody sort of listened to what I had to say in the class a little more, and they kind of went up to me in the hallway and talked to me. And by no means was I like an outcast or anything, but I felt more important, or respected, I guess is the better word. And it's because of that movie and my dad's generosity and Ashkan's generosity that I was able to sort of believe in, you know, what I was able to do, and I can't thank my dad enough for being so generous, for not only lending his story for me to adapt, but also his you know, performance and to act. And I had to stuff him in a big small BMW, and he's a big dude, so I really appreciate that. So yeah, but that's the Crazy Frank, and that's the pay up. And if you look behind here, a guy who acted in it, who, you know, his name's Reed Lubin, right there. He put a quote on the back of the movie, "They all pay up, kid." So, yeah, yeah, it's one of my favorite things, and I still rewatch the movie. And as amateur as it kind of is, it's I get more emotional every year I watch it. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thank you.
Beautiful.
My dad did a series called the White Flower series about his father who had passed away, and they were a series of 3. My sister got one, I got one, and someone else has one somewhere, I don't know, but, you know, I was always jealous of Gabby's piece, and I thought, man, she got the cooler one. She got the cooler white flowers. And one day, in my house on Jansen, I was pacing around, everybody was asleep, and I finally took a look at my piece, and I actually paid real attention to it. I started looking at this poem at the bottom of it, and the poem went like, "Dad, last night I went to Comiskey and remembered you. Cheering for Luke Appling and Nellie Fox, under the stars, rounding third, you held your son's hand." And even at 16, I wept like a baby, and I didn't understand how beautiful that piece really was until that moment. And it brought me back to a time where, you know, where I was conscious enough to where my dad was always making an effort to hold my hand, you know, in the street or, you know, down Southport. And it really brings me back to a time when we were walking from the comic book store, and I was starting to finally develop a personality as a kid, and I wasn't just, you know, a baby or a toddler just who needed things, you know. So I remember I kept talking his head off and talking his head off, and the entire time he kept repeating, "Yeah, kid, you're all right, you're all right. Yeah, you're all right, kid." And at the time, I kept holding his hand, looking up at him. I go, why does he keep saying I'm all right? What does that mean? Like, what? And now, today, I realize that was our formative kind of getting to really know each other, and, you know, and finally getting to speak to one another. And I won't take any of those moments for granted. And, yeah, so, you know, hold your son's hand, you know, hold your dad's hand, and, you know, cherish those moments.
So we're going to bring up our last musical act, but afterward, my mom, Gabby, and myself are going to say some parting words, and if you could stick around for that, that'd be great. So I am super happy to present these guys to perform. My dad was beyond thrilled to do this band's album covers and be a part of a collaborative friendship with Ike Riley. The two of them both took pride in representing their art as working class. The band particularly hits home for me because this is a lovely creative collaboration of a father and his sons. So these guys are going to bring it home, and please give it up for Ike Riley and the session.
I also just wanted to say that Tony stood right on this stage, right in this spot, and did a poem and tell a story about Ike. And was doing your film debut. I just want to say thank you for making time today. Find your drummer in from LA. Ladies and gentlemen, Ike Riley.
How you doing? So I'm a relatively new friend of Tony's. We got acquainted about 10 years ago, and it was a pretty hot romance early on out in Berwyn. He came into our dressing room and we had never met, and I was like, to me he was a mythical, creature that really didn't exist in our world. But there he was in the dressing room, we hit it off. He's like, hey kid, you need an album cover? I'm like, yeah. But I'm not gonna get into all that. One of my favorite stories, he hired my son Kevin to work for him. And one of their, he dosed him up with psilocybin gummies, right? Is that what he did to you? And he just told me he'd walk into work and Tony would say, not much for you to do, kid. Mop the shitter and get out of here. Kevin had a broken collarbone, and he said, you think you can get the bird shit off the awning with one arm? Yes, we did. I'm going to play a few songs that represent him, I think. Michelle told me that he used to come down singing one song of mine at the top of his lungs in the morning. Let me plug this stuff in. What do we got going here? All right. But I loved him dearly, man, and he was so generous to my family. And Max is right, the things I sing about, failure, family, addiction, and our political stances were all lined up. I'm just regretful I didn't meet him when we were both really heavy drinkers. All right. That's all I got. Come on, Adam, let's do it. Last time I saw John, he said, you're nothing but a sham. Came here as a faker and you're leaving as a fan. And if I go up in flames tonight, remember when I'm gone. Bring it to the people before they bring you down. Yeah, put a little love in it. Put a little love in it. Put a little love in it. Before they bring you down. Yeah, put a little love in it. Put a little love in it. Put a little love in it. Before they bring you down. Brings you down. you don't mind, can we stand up and point to the heavens for this guy, Tony Fitzpatrick? Let's get real quiet. Think about how much we loved him, how much we'll miss him, and anybody else that we've lost. Last time I saw John, he didn't look too stoned. He said, hold on to your spit for the flames within your home. Now I'm over you and there's nothing really I can do. I know you don't mind that. I don't matter. Put a little light, put a little light, put a little light for it. Brings you down, yeah, put a little light, put a little light, put a little light for it. Brings you down. I know the church ain't mine. Spoken of the line, keeping on my tongue. Words rising over there. Put a little light, put a little light, put a little light before it brings you down, brings you down, brings you down. Don't try to feel the wall that long road. You gotta fight that fight. You gotta run that road. Don't let it get you down, down, down. 'Cause you wanna come and go. You gotta play that time before you strike that gold. Who's been hurting? Who's been broken? Who's been searching for a door that's open? Who's been soaking?
Take off your high heels.
Who's been sad? Who's heartbroken? Who's been trapped? You might not see the light that won't last. Close the gap, stay on track and don't look back. Don't look outward, don't look down. Find a friend, flip that frown. Just keep it to yourself. Keep on moving on. Without a wand or a baton to pass on to anyone. Who's been hurting? Who's been broken? Who's been searching for a door that's open? Who's been soaking? Who's been sad? Who's heartbroken? Who's been trapped? You might not see the light that won't last. You know, if you guys know Tony, you know how he adored you two. We both had ability to overlook the flaws in our children. It's so fucking sad they couldn't do the same, you know?
What do you think, man?
I'll kick it off first. There's
There
no
you
way.
go.
There's no way I want to follow Gabby. So,
You know it, you know it.
I'll try to make this as quick as possible. My dad was my entire world. I attached my string to him and went wherever he could take me. He showed me an entire world that said it was possible to be anything you want, so long as you do it with charm, humor, creativity, and style. His work ethic was second to none when it came to his art. I had the pleasure of watching him create the Wonder series when I was 13 to 14 years old. When I would work for him, aka fetch his coffee, cut things poorly, and file and polish copper plates terribly. He worked every single day except on Sundays, and all of his work was an adventure, and I will never forget him pulling me to the side and telling me stories of every single detail of one of his pieces. My dad's generosity was unmatched. He tipped the Kinko's guy, for God's sake. I'm not kidding. You know, I needed to do a school project, and for some reason, my mom was nowhere to be found. And I go up to my dad, I go, hey, I gotta get something photocopied at Kinko. He's like, ah, shit. Yeah. So, you know, he busts in there, Kinko's down the street, and he takes a look around at the place, and he sees a young guy, and then he mutters, let's see if this snapperhead can help us. He struts over this poor guy. He's in a fedora and a duster coat, and he's charging full force at him. And, you know, the guy easily helps him in a few minutes. It really was nothing to photocopy something, but as we were walking out, he turns around and he walks up to the guy one more time, and he greases the Kinko's guy $20. And he goes, I really appreciate it, kid. Please take this and get something nice. And my dad swings his duster around and struts out. And that night, my dad became the Jimmy Conway of Kinko's. If my dad simply got a kick out of someone, he'd find them a job and room for his space. He gave my best friend Ashkan Idari a job at 18, and I watched him become one of the best young artists in Chicago. And after his heart surgery in 2015, I wanted to grow as close to him as possible because I realized how fragile life can be. And, you know, so we collaborated on a podcast, The Max and Tony Show, and we both, thank you. Oh, you're the guys who listen to it, okay. We both ran art galleries next to each other in the same building, but my dream truly came true when we got to act in a few scenes and movies. And you know, he always kept his comedy. He was always high-spirited, and he put up an honorable fight, and he never gave up. And he can now rest with Studs Terkel, Mike Royko, Nelson Algren, and Lynn Bramer as one of the greatest Chicago storytellers ever lived. And he did everything. He did everything. You can round up thousands of people that live to be 90 or 100 years old, and he more than likely did more than them at his 66 years of age, and he did it his way. A memory that will always be ingrained in my mind is him laying with me and holding me in the grass when I was 5 years old at our house on Jansen, and he was in the prime of his career. He just bought a house, and he had a lovely family. And even in that moment, as a kid, I could tell he was feeling on top of the world that he shared with me. And I'm gonna miss him. So thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out this evening. Thank you, Joe Shanahan. We are busy with gratitude for putting this together. Thank you to our beautiful Fitzpatrick family of 16 uncles and aunts and 22 cousins. We have not felt alone in a single moment since this happened because of you. And thank you, Mark, for reading from Bumtown, which he wrote after his father passed. It's a beautiful poem, and when he would talk about it, he talked about how difficult it was for him to read, because at the end of the poem he said his father was still gone. And when I read it, I feel the same way. The other day, a pair of snowy owls sat on Lake Michigan and looked out at its beautiful, blue, glistening expanse. And I like to think my dad's big, beautiful eyes were looking back at them. And as I look around the room, I recognize more than a handful of you that I've glared at from across the dinner table. Because I thought I'd be having dinner with my father alone, and instead he brought 5 more people. I've always said that if my dad were a big cake, he'd want everyone in the world to have a slice. I was incredibly possessive of him. It's my hope that standing in this room with 1,100 of his closest friends, you can begin to understand why. Anyway, I'll start with a brief summary of what we all know by now. From the time my father could walk and talk, he was an absolute fucking menace. He was kicked out of more schools than you can count on both hands. He was yanked out of class by nuns on a weekly basis. There's a little-known story about him in the 2nd grade when he took his mom's jewelry box to school and handed out a piece to every girl in class. Then there's the ones we know about him drawing nuns with their tits out and the eagles biting their heads off. But when he wasn't being scolded, he was being sweet. The Tony that many of us are lucky to know. He would bring home a new animal every week, a barn owl, an otter, a falcon, a snake, even a dying skunk, which inevitably led his mother, Anna Mae, having to bathe him in tomato juice. He was a lover of all living things, a quality of his that, from afar, seemed to contradict his tough guy persona, but I think it was the toughest thing about him, his ability to see the beauty and the dignity in all living things. Being a kid that was always in trouble turned him into an adult that always had something to prove. I guess being seen as a bad kid can either be a self-fulfilling prophecy or a powerful source of motivation. In my father's case, it was the latter. When people would remark on his many ways of making a living, artist, actor, poet, boxer, bouncer, radio jockey, and so on, he'd often quip that he'd do anything to avoid honest work. One of the tributes written to him rightly described him as guiltlessly commercial, and noted that even from the ICU, he was still peddling posters and holiday cards. What's the point? The article's author asked. Perhaps some people may think that holiday cards, posters, tote bags, hell, even buttons, would be beneath an artist whose work hangs in every important museum in the United States. You know who didn't? My father, Tony Fitzpatrick. He never missed a chance to make himself available to any and all who wanted a slice of his world, and he loathed a mismarketing opportunity. But to that journalist's question, what's the point? The answer is bafflingly simple. It was not just a matter of making a living, but of survival. He did those things because he was a working artist, and he had to. Not making work was never an option. My father spent every day of his adult life at his studio, except for Sundays. And at the end of his life, he even stopped taking Sundays off. He needed to make sales. He needed to make rent, to post bills, and yes, maybe post bail for his daughter every once in a while. In the last few years, if you watched him in his idle moments, you could see him rubbing the inside of his palms because they hurt. There was a time during COVID when he stood outside of his studio and he was leaned up against the building. With such defeat, he took his face in his hands and he wept to me. He told me that it had been months since his last sale. He wondered if anyone cared about his work anymore, if it even mattered. And then he did something that I'll never forget. He went back into his studio and he finished the drawing on his table. The next day it sold along with 2 more. I mention these hard times because they're just as powerful as his victories. There were so many high points in his career where we felt he'd finally received the recognition that he deserved. Seeing him shine in the limelight was all the more sweet, all the more glorious, knowing just how hard he worked for it every single day. It felt like watching one of those orchids that bloom only one night a year, but for that one night, they are the most beautiful thing on earth. Excuse me, let me just get my Tony Fitzpatrick handkerchief available exclusively at TonyFitzpatrick.com. But really, how often does a guy, one of 8 kids from a working-class Irish Catholic family in Chicago, have his art hung on the same wall as a Picasso, or get flown to Paris to shoot a TV show? It's not bad for a guy trying to avoid honest work. His talent, his charm, his wit, all of that got him through the door, but his persistence is what allowed him to stay there. Someone wrote on his shrine, he showed us what's possible when you show up. Being a working artist is waking up every single day and betting on yourself. And if you ask me, there's nobody who did that better than my father. If you take away anything from this poor excuse for a eulogy that I've written, it should be this. Bad kids don't exist. Please do feed the birds, and please, please lend your support to working artists. If you can't buy their work, let them know that it matters. Show up for working artists, because it might be the only honest work that's left. Thank you so much.
I just realized I have to follow Gabby. And I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in this, making this happen, everyone who's shown up here. It's really wonderful to see all your faces, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Because they were warming up downstairs. I hear the horns in the hallway, which is great. I mean, Tony had a deep affection for New Orleans, as we all know. I just want to say thank you to everyone, all the readers, all the poets, all the writers. So the idea is that we're going to march. The band will come on stage, play a couple of numbers, and then we're marching out of the building onto Park Street, heading north, and then heading south. So follow the band, follow your friends for the second line. That's going to, hi, how are you? Good to see you, eh? I'm Tim Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Second line from.
Yeah, I was here from the beginning.
www.windycityrambler.org. We are a 501c3 organization. We're all over Chicago, spreading this music for the kids and hopes of violence prevention and cultural awareness. If you'd like to contribute to our cause, please check out our website and check out what we're doing. We got one more number for you right now.
Second line, part 2.
Say that again.
Second line, part 2.
Second line, part 2. Ladies and gentlemen.
That's all that matters. What kind of sound would you have?
No, yeah, he lived in, he's from Chicago, but he lived in New Orleans for a long time.
Out of the room, you're done. Move it. Now, go. We're really sorry. No. The homecoming is back here going to the dance. It's not the end of the balcony.
There's a triplet. Yes, absolutely. We love Tony.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Any fake anyone.
All cops are bad. Remember that. What are they doing? Construction work now?
They zip tie you and lay you down.
Is it electric?
You got the footage.
Who's here? Don't get up. Finish it. It's good art.
You know the rules. Don't disturb anything, don't remove anything. If you do, it's my ass.
Yeah, mine too. I won't touch anything.